In a recent analysis by The Economist, the extraction of Nicolas Maduro has triggered a massive recalibration of strategic hegemony in the Western Hemisphere. This event serves as a definitive reality check on China's multipolarity ambitions and the institutional fragility of its so-called all-weather partnerships. As the Trump Corollary to the Monroe Doctrine moves from rhetoric to kinetic intervention, we must analyze the macroeconomic asymmetry that left Beijing's closest South American ally vulnerable to a direct raid. But behind these high-level strategic shifts is a story that sounds more like a Hollywood thriller than a diplomatic briefing. Picture this: Caracas, Venezuela. Just a few hours ago, Nicolas Maduro was beaming. He was hosting a high-level delegation of Chinese diplomats, Xi Jinping's personal envoys. They were talking about their all-weather partnership, their shared vision of a world where America doesn't call the shots, and their unbreakable bond. Maduro even shouted it to the world. "China and Venezuela, united!" But as the diplomats left and the sun went down, a very different guest arrived, not with handshakes, but with flashbangs. In a stunning, lightning-fast raid, American troops snatched Maduro right out of his bedroom. While the world watched in shock, one question echoed from Washington to Beijing: where was China? Today, we're diving into why the raid on Venezuela wasn't just a regime change. It was a brutal reality check for China's global ambitions. To understand why this is such a massive blow to Beijing, you have to look at the numbers. Venezuela isn't just some random ally. It's China's biggest project in South America. Since the year 2000, China has pumped over $100 billion into the country. They weren't just being nice. China bought 80% of Venezuela's exported crude oil. They built the infrastructure, they restructured the debt, and they provided the high-tech radars that were supposed to keep the Americans away. Beijing used Venezuela as a poster child for their multipolar world, a world where countries could defy U.S. sanctions and survive under China's wing. But when the storm actually hit, that all-weather partnership looked more like a fair-weather friendship. China condemned the raid, sure. They called it a violation of sovereignty. But aside from strong words, they didn't lift a finger. This follows a pattern. Remember when American jets hit Iranian nuclear sites last June? Same story. Lots of criticism from Beijing, zero action. Naturally, as soon as Maduro was captured, people started looking at the Taiwan Strait. If America can just ignore international law and kidnap a leader they don't like, why can't China do the same in Taipei? Well, here's the insight. The parallel doesn't actually work, and Beijing knows it. For China, Taiwan isn't about extracting an autocrat. It's about the wholesale takeover of a vibrant, highly defended democracy. China doesn't care about international law when it comes to Taiwan. They see it as a domestic issue. Their only real concern is, can we actually win? The Venezuelan raid didn't teach China how to invade Taiwan. Instead, it showed them that their current military reach is limited. Venezuela's defenses crumbled in hours. Taiwan's defenses? They are a whole different league. If China can't protect a partner in their own backyard like Venezuela, it raises serious questions about their ability to project power when the stakes are at their highest. This raid marks the return of a very old American idea, but with a modern, aggressive twist. It's being called the Trump Corollary. Basically, the U.S. has sent a clear message. Non-hemispheric competitors, which is code for China, are no longer welcome to play in the Western Hemisphere. Whether it's electronic surveillance sites in Cuba, deep space stations in Argentina, or controlling the Panama Canal, the U.S. is moving to shut it down, and China is feeling the heat. For years, they've been biding their time and hiding their strength. But now, they are coming face-to-face with an American administration that is willing to use hard power to protect its influence in the Americas. Thinkers in Beijing are already calling for a recalibration. They're realizing that if they keep pushing politically in South America, they're going to keep hitting the American wall. The advice being whispered in the halls of power right now? Back off, focus on trade, avoid the politics, and don't pick a fight you aren't ready to finish. The irony here is that China's message, offering an alternative to American dominance, has never been more attractive to Latin American countries. But as they watch Maduro's empty bedroom, they're realizing a hard truth. China has the money. They have the rhetoric. They have the all-weather labels. But what they don't have, at least not yet, is the muscle, or the will, to deliver a counterpunch when the U.S. decides to move. For the rest of the world, Venezuela is a reality check. It shows that while we live in a globalized economy, we still live in a world where hard power determines the final outcome. So, what do you think? Does this raid make China look like a paper tiger? Or is Beijing just playing a much longer game? Let me know in the comments below. If you found this breakdown helpful, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the forces shaping our world. Thanks for watching.